Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. So we got a lot of things to go over, so let's just jump right in. So today, everybody's excited. There's a nice, over the last 7 days or so, a nice green day. Today, a little bit of a pullback as far as price action. But again, you cannot deny these price appreciation numbers. Bitcoin up 13% over 7 days. Ethereum 10%. BNB 6%. Solana 9%. Geez, Dogecoin, one of the best performing meme coins roughly over the last decade. Did you know that Dogecoin has been around for 10 years and it's been the top 31 for most of those 10 years? And it's at 17%. Toncoin 3%, Avalanche 7.5%. So it's looking pretty good. But today we're going to talk about post-election return on investments and where things are going. Now, in the markets itself, we know that is quite volatile. And we take a look at some indicators and some good parts that are going on. This is from CoinGlass. Looks like Bitcoin open interest hits an all-time high at almost $40 billion. This often signals a significant price movement ahead. And we're going to see right here that, yes, it is an all-time high. So that is a positive moving forward. Also, rate cuts, not just here in the United States. I have to remember as an American citizen that there are other countries outside of this. And it looks like the European Central Bank just cut interest rates today by a 1/4 percentage point. And of course, us here, Federal Reserve and Jay Powell, they had just recently cut 50 basis points. And if this is any indicator, we know that in November, I think it's November 7th, when the next Fed meeting is, 7th November. It looks like the possibilities of a 25 basis points would be 90%. And from what I understand, we're going to see another 25 basis points. And that's always good when we can have rate cuts. More rate cuts means more quantitative easing. More quantitative easing makes, for what it is, more people have money in their accounts and they can start buying up different types of assets. But it's not all good. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, we had talked about how there was the Chinese economy. They were going to do a little bit more quantitative easing and stimulate the economy because they were having different problems, especially in the real estate sector. And we thought it would be a pretty good indicator for Bitcoin, and there was a lot of buying up. However, this is we just broke right now. Looking at Bitcoin news, China's stock market has experienced significant volatility in recent weeks, with the CSI 300 index reaching its highest annualized 60-day volatility. The recent surge in Chinese stocks driven by stimulus measures triggered FOMO selling of Bitcoin. I got to tell you, I don't know if this would be the greatest time to sell Bitcoin, but it all becomes one of those early versus late type of investments. Do I want to sell Bitcoin for the massive gains that I have? And I have to tell you on the rules, number 5 is take profits. So they took profits and they go, okay, well, we're going to put that into our Chinese stock market. Maybe there will be some outlandish gains and a faster horse. So I can't blame them for that. In the long haul, I don't know if that's a really great move, but it is what it is. And that could be part of the reason. We can always find a narrative as to why prices go up or prices go down. In the last 24 hours, we're down 1.3%. Not a big deal, but we'll see how it all plays out. So it comes down to this then. Well, where are we headed? And on this show, you know, I've said this numerous times, I don't think anything's going to happen until after the presidential election. Again, if we get a certain individual in the White House, the markets say, okay, we got this guy, so we know where we're going to go, so let's do this. Or if another person comes in or stays in, I guess it'd be this way for VP Harris, now it'd be presidential, for the president Harris. They would say, okay, well, we know we got her, so we're going to do this, and there's no ambiguity, we know exactly where we're going. However, it really doesn't matter. If we're just going to talk about single issues, that's not the scope of this channel. The channel here is to talk about digital assets and what's going to potentially happen in the future. So we have to take a look at the historical looks. And we can take a look at the Bitcoin market cycle bottom return on investment. And this is for this recent market cycle 5. And at the bottom, we can see right here, November 10th, 2022. Remember that? Around that time, there was a nice little collapse of a small centralized exchange called FTX. All those were good times. And we saw a massive reduction in prices. I think I want to say around 15,700, 16,000, somewhere around there. Correct me in the comment section. And that's where we're at right now. And it looks, and again, if you would have invested from there at the peak, mostly March, and this is a couple months after the ETF, you'd be 4.5x up. That's pretty good. And then we've just kind of chopped sideways, which no one really likes. But in all honesty, it's not too bad. 4.26 return on investment for going down to the lower part. But what did that look like for the last cycle? So market cycle 4, which again is looking back to 2018, it did pretty well, obviously. And where did it go? Well, if we look at right here, this is where we're at. We are actually below the point of the last cycle's return on ROI. But we can see that over here, how well it did to the very maximum point. This would be November 9th, 2021. I want to say Bitcoin is around 67, almost 68,000. It was a 20x, almost a 21x from its bottom point. So again, even if we're a little bit lower, and I will make mention that from this time frame, we were actually above the last cycle's ROI. We've just recently come into pretty much even as of September. And now we've actually dropped a little below. But what does that look like for the cycle before that? And this is when there was outlandish gains. Now this is going back to 2015. I wasn't around back then. I don't know if you were. I got it in 2017, and those were crazy times. But from 2015, and this was in January or so, you can see how there's been diminished returns, correct? Because right here for market cycle 4, again, roughly a 20x. But the big gains were already in 2015 and 2017, when the bottom, you would have 110x'd. So when I take a look at this, even if we are in line with cycle 4, I'll still take it. I was pretty excited beforehand over here because I thought to myself, well, you know, if we can actually be in between cycle 3 and 4, that's pretty good. But even if we come up and we're on par with the last cycle and we 20x from the bottom price was 16,000, right? Roughly. 20x from there, I'll let you do the math on that one. But I don't think we can do that, but I have been wrong many a times. That would be the most bullish outcome I can potentially think. But even if we do a 10x, I'll be pretty happy. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comment section. But as a reminder, again, I don't think anything's really going to happen until after this presidential election. And this is from Polymarket. And for me, I can't vote for the president of the United States. I live in Puerto Rico. That's just how it goes. Senate seats, though, it's quite interesting over at Polymarket. They're saying that 80% is going to fall for the Republicans and only 20% for Democrats. But if we take a look at the presidency, and there was just an interview on Fox News with VP Harris. Fascinating. I will not give commentary to it. You can check it out yourself. But after that, I saw that on Polymarket, there was a big jump for Trump, 62 to 38%. Now, does this mean that this is an accurate poll? Absolutely not. This is just Polymarket. And I find it just interesting just how many people are actually behind it and speculating as to where things go. Also, there's another one in there. Will Trump go on Joe Rogan before the election? And we've got yes at only, what is this? 70, there's a 69% chance. I got to tell you, if I was a gambling person, I would say that I believe they've already talked about this actually happening from numerous sources. So Polymarket, you can find a lot of different things, a lot of interesting polls on there to see where the public sentiment is. But if I was a betting man, I would definitely say for yes for this one. So we'll see how it goes. But again, I don't think anything's going to happen. But when it does happen, as far as the election, 18 days to go, this is what happens, historically speaking. Now, history doesn't line up exactly, but it does rhyme, correct? And we can go back all the way to November 6, 2012. This will be second term for President Barack Obama. And you can just see where things were going September, October, November, leading up to the presidential election in November. And then what happened? Well, in 2013, actually had a double top. So we saw that around April, May, and then we jumped up again towards the end of 2013, around December, and it was an all-time high. Same thing with Trump. He came in 2016, and before that, we saw September, October, November on a positive incline, not as massive as, say, in like 2012, but good enough. Then, of course, after the election, what happens? Starts to pivot or starts to go up. We have some pullbacks. Well, we hit an all-time high in 2017, like we just took a look at for the ROI. And the same thing happened with President Biden. We saw a little bit of a pullback because, as you may remember, there was this thing called the coronavirus. I don't know if you heard about it, but it was big thing. And during that time, we had a massive crash, everything around. Then we got nice little stimmy packages. But what usually happens after the presidential election, and as they started to print money like crazy, because that's what we do here in America, all-time highs. And it was almost like 2013, where we had a top in April, and then we had a top in November. So what's going to happen here? I'm not for sure how much it will go up. I mean, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different factors we have to follow up with. One of those being certain wars and discourse in the Middle East. Of course, what's going to happen in the macro environment. And also, if the numbers that are coming out of the government are actually 100% accurate, especially with initial claims, unemployment, and the like, and real salaries. So anything could happen, but historically speaking, this is what we got. And I think that, again, in 2025 is going to be the year. I've been saying this for quite some time. I did not see 2024 as a left translated cycle like what Bob Lucas was talking about, but he's changed stance on that. I still say the best is ahead of us. But let me know what you think about that in the comments section. And to take it off from there, not everything is great. I will remind you, it's not about how much you make, it is how much you keep. And for some reason, there is nothing but hacks and scams going on. And I will tell you, like we talk about as far as the rules, last rule, take profits. Take profits on the way. Nobody ever went broke taking profits. Here's a good lesson. Radiant Capital loses $50 million to second blockchain exploit this year. I don't know who stuck with them after the first one, but here we go. Blockchain lending protocol Radiant Capital lost more than $50 million on Wednesday as a result of an apparent cyber attack. And this is the reason why I'm stepping down from my channel. Once I sell my 80% of my crypto, there's a link in the description. I talk about the indicators I'm doing. It's because once we get into the bull market, things will go crazy. And there's going to be different things that are going to come out, and they're going to fool you. They're going to fool you and say, this is the next way to do things. And if you just do this with us, then you're going to be financially stable for as long as you live. And they're going to talk about loans. They're going to talk about yield. They're going to talk about giving up your custody. And you can do those things, but I'm just telling you right now, I'm not going to fall for this again. So check this out. The attacker gained control of Radiant Capital's blockchain contracts by obtaining 3 of the private keys that control the protocol. Radiant Capital contracts were exploited on Binance Smart Chain and Arbitrum, which is a layer 2 solution on Ethereum, with the transfer from function. And after I read this last sentence, I'm like, I don't know how this is possible. Radiant is controlled by a multi-signature or multi-sig wallet with 11 signers. The attacker was apparently able to obtain 3 of these signers' private keys, which was enough to upgrade the platform smart contracts. Look, I don't know how many times you've lost your private keys. For me, it's been 0.0 times I've lost my private keys. And you're telling me that 3 just happened to go away and they were able to contract the multi-sig wallet? Okay, sounds good. $50 million lost. Again, remember these stories that we talk about as we go into the bull market, so you don't do something goofy, like get into these types of offers, because I just think most of it's scams. Anyhow, that's just that little PSA. Also, just to follow up here, we had talked about PayPal and Stripe actually partnering up with some pretty big blockchains. PayPal being one of the biggest ones, obviously. And they had partnered up with, first it was Ethereum for their stablecoin, PYUSD. And then they went over to Solana, which I thought was a pretty good move because Solana is so cheap. Ethereum layer 1 solution is extremely expensive and extremely slow. Layer 2s could do it. I got you. But I thought PayPal or Solana was a good move. But this was an interesting article about why it may not have been. PayPal's PayUSD stablecoin market cap is down 40% from its high above 1 billion in August. And when I first read this, I thought, well, you know, everything might be down. It's just a stablecoin, but the reason why behind it makes a lot of sense. And it makes me wonder about incentivized for Solana. So this is what we have. Stablecoin's growth was largely propelled by a partnership between PayPal and Camino Finance, a Solana lending market that agreed to pay generous yields to PayPal USD or PYUSD holders subsidized by the payments giant. So essentially what it was is this Camino Finance was like, hey, come over here. We're going to give you a bunch of yield. And PayPal paid for that yield. And they probably thought, oh, okay, we'll do this for so much time, but it just kept going. They had to cut it back. Again, where is the yield coming from? Ask that question and you're going to get a lot of answers that maybe you don't like and maybe you need to take off. So in recent weeks, the yield paid on PYUSD depositors or deposits on Camino, which is the 6th largest lending protocol by TVL of any chain, has dropped from 17% to 7%. Again, I got no problems with it, with this, winding down. Those 17% is not sustainable. Come on. However, the trend may end up reversing. On Tuesday, Camino added PYUSD to its altcoin market, enabling users to borrow against their tokens, like WIF, Popcat, and Bonk, which are all meme coins. The arrangement will pay depositors an extra $10,000 in PYUSD rewards in total per week. So we'll see if they can keep up with that. That's a lot of yield. That's a lot of rewards. I don't know, but it's just interesting. We'll see how it works out. Let me know what you think about that. And then when we were talking about this, as far as Solana, I know when I talked about that last article, I'm going to say, oh, Rob's just throwing around FUD and he must hate Solana. No, I like Solana. I own a big bag of it. And I'm super biased in this channel. As a reminder, if you're new, I don't talk about anything unless I own it. So everything that I talk about, I'm super biased towards it doing quite well. So when I talk about Solana, I don't want to talk about bad stories, but it just has to be done. And we had talked about this. I mean, I have Solana in my regular portfolio, also in my Roth IRA now. And I divvied it up between Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, ton, gold, silver, and even some meme coins. And we talked about why in the last video. But one of these, or Solana and ton, there was one that I really wanted to get into, which was SWE, as you may know. It's one that I've picked up in the last 2 months or so. And iTrust Capital, which is the one I have my Roth IRA with, just came out and said, hey, we're going to allow that to be available. So now you can hold SWE in your Roth IRA. And again, Roth IRAs are tax exempt. They are tax free and you can trade within your Roth IRA. And the reason why I like SWE and ton is they're newer chains. And this will kind of get into the altcoin markets. I know everybody we love Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. But we have to kind of look out further because I think at some point, even when we were talking today, it was me, Ben, and Guy for NFA Live on Guy's show. Ben was talking about it and he said, look, 60% is right around the corner for Bitcoin dominance. He goes, but people are going to be really shocked when I start to talk about altcoins and it's coming. So I think we should have that discussion now. So when I'm looking at for these tokens, for these altcoins, let's be honest, most are going to go to zero, but some will make it. And what you want to take a look at is to get the ones that are out of the older cycles, because it seems like you get like one cycle to really shine. And if you don't, you kind of kick to the curb. And there's this thing called a Goldilocks zone. And we can see for the last halving in 2020, I think it was, I always thought it was 420, but someone would correct me and said, no, it was April 19th, whatever. April 19th, 2020. But you can see like if you go 6 months before or after, there's like a Goldilocks zone. Axie Infinity, that was a big one in 2021. Solana, we just talked about it. Sand, of course, Sand was more for the metaverse play. I think one of the reasons why it went up so well is because Oculus and Facebook changed their name to Meta because I thought it was going to be all augmented reality. And that's what they kind of went for. Didn't really work out. Shiba, Gala, Avalanche, pretty good ones. Matic in 2019, and unfortunately, one of the big winners, which became the big loser, was Luna in 2019 as well. But again, these were like, for that time frame, they were all pretty much new, and they did extremely well. So I take a look at SWI. I see this, that it's, I don't know if you guys knew this, but it's been around only since 2023. So I like what I see. I know the developers, they're the ones that actually were on Meta's blockchain project. And then they branched off, actually two of them. It was, well, the groups. One went Aptos, one went SWI, and this was from their project, which was called Libra, which was shut down by the government, essentially not allowed to go to fruition. So SWI comes out, looks pretty good. And over time, it's been doing decent enough. So I like what I see here, but also with Toncoin. People ask me like, well, why Toncoin? And there was this new indicator that was put out by End of the Block. It's called crypto dominance, I guess to piggyback on Ben's Bitcoin dominance. But it was interesting. It says this section, and again, this just came out today. This section evaluates the top 300 tokens tracked by ITB Analytics by market cap and analyzes the most dominant top 10 tokens across several metrics compared to the top 300. And it's good, but this is the one that caught my attention. Active addresses is a leading metric. And it states here, I like this part. Large changes in active address dominance are a good leading indicator for events happening for a given token. Active addresses dominance can often be seen increasing before large price movements and are correlated to price increases. What do you notice over here? Well, you notice a lot of lines. Address dominance. What do you notice about Ethereum? And this is in blue. It's kind of decreasing. Tron, which I used to make fun of, but I understand why people use it, especially in Southeast Asia, and people who have access to Binance, which are not me. A little bit of a down here, right? Here's Bitcoin. I don't know what this is. This one is, USDT, Algo, AVAX, USDC, Doge. But this right here, this line, you see the dominance level go from essentially flat and comes up here. And that's Ton. That's the address dominance for Ton. And the question is, why did that come out? Well, first of all, you have to understand, Ton is also one of those newer type of cryptos. Came out in September 2021 after it had a failed attempt and the SEC had to shut their original plans down. And they had to rebrand Toncoin. And it's working out pretty well so far. We'll see how it goes. But the reason why I think Toncoin does so well is because of these clicker games. And we talked about this before. Here's Notcoin. It was one of the first. I know people make fun of it because it's like, it's just a clicker game. But look, Notcoin's in the top 100. The circulating supply and total supply are the exact same. There is no more unlocks and dumpage. So it's all out there for anybody to trade if they want to. Over the last month, it's done pretty good. Again, I think it reached as high as, I want to say 63, but now it's fluctuating over here, which is pretty good for a clicker game. And when people think about clicker games, they think about stuff like Hamster Kombat, which was a Telegram-based game on Ton. But it didn't do so hot after it had its TGE event. Now remember, Hamster Kombat hit 300 million users. It had an airdrop of around 134 million. And what happens? Well, you got a lot of people who were just playing that clicker game, which is essentially what it was. But it stabilized roughly towards the end of, or the beginning of October, all the way to today. But it's still on a downward decline. However, I will say, not too bad. It's still ranked 254. But I don't think that's where the future of Telegram is and why I'm excited about Ton moving forward. I think, and we did a video about this. So they have these things called mini apps. I linked this video in the description. So you've got apps that aren't just clicker games like Briefly. Briefly, you just put a link into the app within Telegram, and it just summarizes it using AI. And then we've got another one. Well, that's Briefly as well. Playdeck is a bunch of different games, which is pretty interesting. Money Tab, You can keep track of personal expenses. So this is kind of like what you'd get on like an Apple or Android, but it's all kind of contained within the Telegram app. You got stuff like mobile VPN, if you wanted something like that. There's one called Wellesley I thought was interesting, that you would just take a picture of the, that's a very bad picture. Take a picture of what you're eating and it'll tell you your protein, your carbohydrates, total calories, sugars, and everything else. You can try to get in shape. Good luck. Breathing. What is this one? Oh, this was a good one. It was Opus Freelance, where you can put things in and you could, essentially, it's like Fiverr on Telegram, and a whole host of other different things. Coin Creator, where you can create your own coin. You had a DEX, StoneFi, which a lot of people have. DNS, which I'm sure Gary Genzer doesn't like, and a whole host of different things. But then you come across these ones like Catizen and Hamster. And I just look at these games as like the first iteration. I just don't see them. I mean, I see them doing quite well. There's a lot of different games out there that you can do it, but it's all about farming. But I think the next evolution will be games that people actually like to play. There's a game out right now called Off the Grid, and everybody loves it. And the reason why they love Off the Grid is because it's a fun game to play, and they're not shoving down any kind of crypto tokens or NFTs down people's throats. They're just optional. And that's why I think Flappy Bird's going to do well. Now, let me make 100% clear on this one. So Flappy Bird, I'm an original team member, and I'm an investor into this project. So just like I said about before, I am extremely biased. I want this to do extremely well. So I will only talk about things that I own. So just so everybody knows, I am an original team member of Flappy Bird, which you can play right now on Telegram itself. So if you don't know how to get into this, it's very simple. So you open up Telegram, you click on the search option, and this didn't happen. This wasn't there like about a month ago or so. You have chats, and then you click on apps, and you just do a quick search. You just type in Flappy Bird, and there it is. You can play or join the community. You play, and that's it for the game. And then you start playing. Now, I will say like this: it's talking about original team members. It wasn't just me. I can't do everything. I'm just me and Digital Asset News. So we had to get other people that were much more talented. And one of those original team members, his name is Keck Zanorg. And I don't know if you've ever seen this before. On the left is Flappy Bird, which was 2013. On the right is a game called Pew Pew. And Pew Pew was released between 2009 and 2011. And it's pretty similar. And when we saw this, we go, wow, I think we'd like to have Keck on our original team members to build out this newer version of what we have right here. So again, so just like how we talked about the other games that are clicker games, they're all mining events. Right now, Flappy Bird is going on as well. So you can see with this one, if you want to go there, start playing the game, it's in Telegram. Click on invite. You can invite your friends, invite whoever you want to. And you can do that through Telegram or use the link. Then there's a leaderboard. If you click on that, I would request that you pick Digital Asset News, but you don't have to. You can pick Boinkers or whoever else is on there. And then you start to play as a team. And all these points are accumulated for an eventual airdrop, which will happen at some point. So and then once you pick that, then you can actually go and play the game. So the game is just like what you would probably remember if you've ever done before. So again, there's also on the earn section here, you can earn additional points, connect your wallet for the airdrop. But when you click on the actual play button, it's just what you remember. And there's two versions for this. So this one's in my opinion, is the easier version. Even I can play this. I know some people say, well, I don't like playing games, Rob. Well, sometimes you want to kill a little bit of time. And maybe you want to, go through the whole process. And again, it's not just about doom scrolling through Twitter all day or watching YouTube videos. Maybe you just want to kill some time playing a little game that maybe you remember from a long time ago. So this is actually me. I actually did pretty good in this one. Actually, I think I hit all the way to the end. So you can do it like this in the easy mode, as I call it. Or if you remember back in the day, there was this, whoops. It was a little bit harder. So you can click on in the upper right-hand corner, it says OG mode, and play that. And that's it. So look, that's what's going on in today's world of digital assets and crypto. And again, founding member, want this to do well, links in the description, you can check it out. So that's it for today. So look, like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, if you want to stick around, I'll answer all your questions to the best of my abilities. And we'll go from there. If you got to take off, take off. I appreciate you stopping by. And now we'll get into the Q&A. And Danny's got a good question already. Danny says, can you discuss your thoughts on selling strategies for non-taxable iTrust Roth IRA versus regular taxable transactions? Are you treating it the same? I've seen you when I'm selling 80% video. So there's a couple of things to break down here. First of all, Roth IRAs obviously are not available for everyone around the world. There are different retirement accounts in different countries. But for a Roth IRA, that is post-tax your funds that you have actually accumulated. And you can put that into any type of assets that you want to. I just happen to use iTrust because I can get gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, digital assets. So with this one, when you sell, you can sell within your Roth IRA and it's not taxable. Now, to actually take any kind of funds out, you have to wait until 59.5 years old, or I believe it's, if you're over that age, you still have to invest for, I think it's either 4 years or 5 years. Correct me in the comments before you actually pull something out to take any kind of funds out of the IRA itself. So for this one, there is no difference. So when I'm selling 80% of my crypto and digital assets, I will sell them. And actually, I'll be, we're not just going to do the indicator video, which we've already done, but I will come on this channel and say, guess what? Those indicators hit like we talked about, and I sold this for 80%, and I'm out. And I will do the exact same thing in my Roth IRA. And what happens to those funds? Well, the funds just sit there and it waits for a crash. I am not a believer in a super cycle that everything will keep going up in perpetual motion or perpetuity, and it will never have a crash. And if you believe that there will never be some type of massive reduction in price appreciation, I have a bridge to sell you. And once that happens, then I'll just buy back in. You see, assets you'll never get out. You'll never get out of. It's like real estate. Once you're into real estate and buying properties, you buy, you fix up, you rent, or immediately sell, and then you look for the next property. And it's the same thing with digital assets. It's the same thing with all assets, matter of fact. You'll always look at it like, what's the next deal? Some people don't like that, and they say, I just want to sell and live on an island and drink Mai Tais. Have fun. It's the most boring life you can possibly have. But it'll keep going around, I think. And yeah, I won't come back until there's a pretty heavy bear market. Right. Frosty peas. Death, taxes, and crashes. That's very true. Heard? Buy, borrow, die. That's what usually the rich do, right? Capitalist Piggy. Rob, are your viewership numbers up? Interest on sentiment? No. They're pretty much flat right now. Just pretty much, they're essentially like Bitcoin. That's the numbers. And if you want to take a look at market sentiment as it pertains to social, let's steal some data, shall we? So, link in the description for Ben's website into the Cryptoverse. And if you take a look here, macro recession, crypto indicators. And you go over to social metrics. This is why I like Ben's website, because it summarizes all these different metrics and puts them into just one big giant summary. And what I like, and you can see right here that as far as price metrics, on-chain, socials, we're not even close to being at our peak. You know what the peaks were? Look at this. Remember this in 26 November? Maybe it was 17. No, it was like the 6th of November. This is when we topped out, when Bitcoin was 67K and everything was going and everybody thought that we'd never go down. Yeah, that happened. And the indicators will tell you, right? Same thing here in 2017. if I can get there. Same thing, right? Metrics. Today, what do you see on social? A lot of people in the toilet. So YouTube subscribers are, the risk is 0.00 because our subscribers are flat, decreasing, or only slightly increasing. YouTube views are at 0. That's the same thing. Twitter followers, a little bit higher. Exchanges are doing pretty good, actually. And layer ones are at 0.3. So nothing too fantastic. So to get a general consensus of, say, like social sentiment, capitalist, it's not the greatest right now. That's okay. I actually appreciate these times with people who are veterans like yourselves, as opposed to the tourists that come in. And that's why that's one of the bigger reasons I want to leave. Because when the tourists come in, they're going to tell us how we should invest and what the best thing to do, because they're from blah, blah, blah. And they're going to, say, you bunch of boomers, you guys don't know what you're doing. You got to do it this way, and this way. And then you can get some fantastic yield on this and do some loans. Sure, have fun. And I'm not looking forward to that, but that's the natural evolution of things. So yeah, risk metrics. I'm going to buy myself a place in Puerto Rico today. Let me tell you something, Joe. Puerto Rico is expensive. That is an expensive place to live at. That's all I'll say. And everything gets imported. So like go to Walmart and you can just compare prices. You know what I'm talking about. Actually, just go to the gas station and you'll see. It's a pricey place. I am buying a house next to Dan. I should just make a commune. It'd be great. It's a bull moon, sir. I think you're right, Mountain. Rob, you got to do a health and fitness channel. I saw the push-ups. Damn. It's one of those things like if you're not healthy, then what good is all this money that you're making, right? You got a healthy person has 1,000 wishes and a sick person has 1. And unfortunately, if you're sick, the only thing you want to be is healthy. So I think it's important that, try to stay healthy. I just read an article. It was a book. It was called Positive Energy, and it talks about the reduction in cardiovascular disease and diabetes and dementia just by walking 30 minutes a day. It reduces all those chances by 50%. Go figure, right? Yeah, health and fitness. You know what's great about health and fitness? It's really hard to get in shape, but it is super easy to stay in shape. Ed says, Rob, you ever considered having a damn cruise party? Would be fun for post-sell vacations. No, but I think what would be fun is like when we all get into this massive bull market, and here's what's going to happen. We're going to get in this bull market, and you who are listening probably going to do the right things. You're going to sell at some point and take some profits, and you'll be able to live your life as opposed to having a massive anxiety and holding bags all the way up and things, go down. Next thing will happen is you're going to see a massive influx of people moving to Portugal, United Arab Emirates, and also to UAB, and also to Puerto Rico because of the tax incentives there. So once that happens, I'll see you guys when you get there, and then we'll all go to San Juan Smokehouse, and I'll buy the first round of beers. I think that's probably the best thing we can do. So yeah, but the cruises, I'm not a big fan of cruises anyhow. If you come to Puerto Rico, it's way more fun. A lot of things to do, a lot of hiking, paddle boarding, beach tennis. You can have these things called tostones, which are awful, but everybody seems to love them. Do you remember last cycles? Does retail only come in last minute? It feels like the bull run's still not starting since retail not even here right now. And quit time is right. On today's show, actually, NFA, we took a look at Google Analytics and search terms. And one of those was Bitcoin, and it's actually at its lowest point. I don't think retail is here as much as it was back in 2020. I think it's because everybody remembers. I think it's a twofold. First of all, there's no stimmy checks coming around, so people have less money to just throw. And then the next thing is I think that the memory of FTX, Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi is still in everybody's minds. And they're thinking about, well, crypto is a scam, crypto is a scam. Crypto is not a scam. the people behind some of these crypto projects and centralized exchanges are scammers. So Bitcoin is not a scam. Bitcoin has no centralized authority. Bitcoin is decentralized. And if you want to keep having appreciative values or buying more things more expensively, then just keep everything in cash. So I think it's going to take a while. And I think with Larry Fink out there and BlackRock, and he just had the Q3 earnings call. We talked about this a couple of days ago. It was yesterday. And he said all these institutions that they're talking to, and he's essentially saying like Bitcoin is its own asset class and you should go for that. And then he talked about how Ethereum could be the next portion to digital asset, which I thought was kind of odd, but sure. As far as Ethereum, that's good for Ethereum maximalists. I still own Ethereum. Hopefully it does well. But I think if you have something like that, and then you have other institutions coming in, maybe family offices, and then retail eventually comes in because they hear from whoever, and then things just go crazy for a while. And you have that 3, 4, 6 months of just crazy price appreciation where nobody thinks it's going to go down, and then it does. I think it'll happen. I just don't know exactly when. That's about it. Hopefully it all lines up perfectly like it did last time. 4-year cycles intact. Darren. Been throwing sand in the ocean since early 2022. Me as well. What keeps me going is remember how fast the market moved in March. Example, near went from $4 to $9 in 2 weeks. Hey, and don't forget, Cardano in 2018 went from 7, 6, 7, 8, 9 cents all the way up to $3. That happens. Just got to pick the right ones. ES says, what do you think about keeping USDC on Coinbase instead of keeping money in the bank to get the 5% interest? So I was involved, or I talked a lot about this thing called Voyager. I don't know if you guys remember that. And that went under, not because it was a faulty platform, just people did some really stupid things like giving a $340 million loan to 3 Arrows Capital where it just evaporated. And the reason why they did that is because they were trying to keep up with the Joneses, Celsius, with the amount of yield that they could actually give. Now, hopefully people learned from that. I certainly did. That's why one of the rules is no exchanges, 100% off exchanges. Use a cold storage device. My favorite is Tangem. You can use Ledger or whatever else you want to. For me personally, I despise keeping things on any centralized exchange. I just do. ES, you can do it for 5%. But I'll tell you a story. San Juan Smokehouse. Steven came up to me and he said, hey, I saw your video and it looks like Voyager is doing something odd. I have the majority of my funds in Voyager for my business account. You think it's okay to leave it there because there's really good yield? And I said, Steven, you need to get off absolutely right now. And don't wait for me. Just get everything off. And he did it, and roughly 10 days later, it collapsed. So I can say like this, I'm not here to tell you what to do or financial advice. I'm definitely not anybody's dad. But for 5%, I like 5%, but I like safety better. The guy who has the least worries at the end of the day is the winner. So ES, just take it for what it's worth and make your decision there. If you're keeping a couple $100 and you're like, I don't really care about this $100, sure. But if you're like, I got all my funds in there and I really could use that kidney, maybe you don't want to keep it there. Games play. Why can't I use your affiliate discount with the limited edition Bitcoin Tangem cards? Great question. Great question. So let's see. Tangem. Oh. Did you guys, whoops. So we had a limited edition of around 500 Tangem wallets. And what we did, and they're with our logo on it. And when I talked to the team at Tangem, because it's an affiliate link, you understand that, right? Like you get 10% off and I get 10% and everybody's happy. But what I told Tangem guys, I go, look, I want you guys to not give me anything. And I want you guys just to give the discount to my subscribers. And they said, sure. And we gave you 25% off, which is a pretty good deal, quite honestly. Damn it. Didn't mean to do that. Didn't mean to do that either. So let's take a look. If you go to dan.tangem.com, you should be able to put it in there. Hold on, let me see something. Order now. Oh, I'll just use PayPal, whatever. Let me take a look here. Stick with me. Videos, let's see here. I think that was on staking. Oh, I know why. No. Aha. Here it is. Let me show you what I'm looking at so you guys don't just look at my enormous head. All right, here we go. So let's see. Damn, that's not either. What I'll do, hold on. Ask all your questions in there and I'll get to this in a second. Hold on. Did I put this out? Because what it should be 25% off, not just 10%. PPI, crypto.com, Bitcoin, Solana. Gary's done. Has report. No, that's not it. Live. Market takes off. It can't be this late. Oh, I think I know what it is. Hold on. Let me show you. So you're here, whatever. Is that it? Ah, that's what it is. So you got to put in Dan25. Okay, now everybody knows that. So links in the description. You have to go to this one, the dan.tangem.com. Here, I'll put that in the section right here. You want 25% off? There you go. And there's no affiliate link on that one. So have at it. And then Dan25. Sorry, it took a little bit longer. There we go. 100% from this. I want to be healthy again. That's what everybody wants. That's right, Joe. Steve P says it's really easy to gain weight. It is easy to gain weight. It's just very, very tough to get it out, especially with the awful diet and food that we have here in the United States. Danny. That's funny. Rob, have you ever tried Ancestry DNA tests? No, but I'm sure it's just a bunch of assorted crackers. That's about it. That will come back. And Native American somewhere. It's put in that one. That's about it. I'm just here for the bananas. Retail. And it's a good thing that, well, it's a good point, not a good thing. Retail seems very broke right now. It's not only that retail is broke, but if you look at, I want to say this was 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago, we crossed $1 trillion in credit card debt. Let me make sure that's right. exceeds $1 trillion. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not right. It's 1.13 trillion. Hey, America. So, yeah, February 6, 2024. This is a while ago. So I don't know how much it is now. Americans now owe a collective 1.13 trillion on their credit cards. And if we know anything about that, it's not because we're here for the points. It's because we like to put things on credit and never pay it off. And that's pretty much it. So that's pretty good news for like Visa and MasterCard. They must be rolling in it. But that's not a good sign for the economy itself. So namaste, I have to agree with you on this one, for sure. Ahmed Saif says, what's your view on recession? What do you think when it can hit approximately? I don't see us in a recession. I thought we'd see one in 2026. I know everybody was calling for one. I was like, well, you know, I mean, these numbers, whether they're real or not, I just don't see it actually happening. But I think what's going to happen first, and you're going to hear this term a lot coming up in the next 6 months, a year, and so it's called the melt up. And what's going to happen is we're going to print money like crazy because it's the only thing we can do. And no one's going to balance the budget because the biggest expense we have in America right now is Social Security payments and Medicare, which are, they call them entitlements. And then on top of that, we also have a massive budget for the military, and we're not going to cut that either. So the only thing we're going to do is we're going to start keep printing money and printing money and printing money. If you take a look at the M2 money supply, we'll take a look at that real quick. You can see America's good at a couple of things. Free speech, owning weapons, diabetes, and printing money. And even though we had like a pretty big cliff from the coronavirus from February 2020, we had roughly $15 trillion. And when we topped out, it was 21. So, you know, $6 trillion is not bad. It's hard work, but we did it. We printed like crazy. And now, you know, people were talking about quantitative tightening and how great that is, but that wasn't the case. And you can just see how like this blue line is the S&P 500. And it's amazing how it's not like people are really good traders. It's just that there's more liquidity in the markets, and then it goes down as it comes down, then it kind of comes up. So we're on that upward incline, and you can only dilute so much, and we'll have a melt up. And who knows if I don't think we'll be like Zimbabwe dollars or something, but you'll see hyperinflation. I worry more about that than a recession. Recession is normal and part of the cycles. But we just totally dodged that one because we print our way out of it, and we're too big to fail. That's what happened in 2007, 8, and 9. All right. Thanks, Mike. J2 Day says, you could use stables like a checking account from your own wallet. It's true. It's very true. Here's my question for everybody. Have you guys used your stablecoin? Like, let's say you're using USDC. Have you ever used that on like Ethereum? Or do you just use it on like Solana and Arbitrum, stuff like that? Because I've tried to use it, and with Ethereum layer 1, it's not happening. I mean, if it's at the peak volume, like I'm like, hey, could I give you 20 bucks? Sure. And you know, the gas fee is 22. So like, that's a difficult situation. Solana, I think, could take it. Ton has Tether on it now. So just a question I had, how everybody's moving stable coins around. It's funny. Can't say either one either. Frosty Peas says 3 hours to the meltdown. I got to show. Hey, Nas is here. Nas. I heard that Do Kwon was found to have transferred a bunch of crypto. He's being arrested, but before they confiscate his electronic devices. Sounds about right. I'm not for sure if that's true, but it would not surprise me. Oh, thanks, Bingo. You know what would have been a better brand? Instead of putting the logo, just put the 5 rules in the back. That would have been a way better idea, you know. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Don't leave things on exchanges. Don't use leverage. Take profits. I think if you would have had that on your card, especially the very first one, take profits. If you could have had that on your card every time you whooped out, you're like, well, maybe I should, instead of round tripping it yet again. Danny, I think you're from Spain, right? In my country, no party represents me. They're all S. Yeah. That's how I feel too. I know people are enamored with some of the politicians, but remember, they're politicians and they're all liars. And there's a thing called a campaign promise. Those never, not never, but they usually don't hold up. Saving. True. Mr. Techno Goody, TANGEM is not only a great cold storage option, but the sell swap feature might be helpful during the market peak when centralized exchanges could be swamped and down. Get into stables and that's a good point, actually. I never thought about that. So that's a really good one, Techno. So there's a swap option in your TANGEM wallet, and that's what I've been using to buy Toncoin, because Toncoin, and first of all, does everybody know where to get these different crypto assets? Because I know like some people say, well, I just go to my exchange. Some exchanges don't have them. If you go to, oh, well, this is easy. You find out whatever it is that you want to buy, right? You're in Toncoin, you go to markets, and there's where they all are. Bybit, OKX, blah, 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 right? And if you're looking for like a decentralized exchange, just gotta keep putting, I guess. I wish they had a tab where you can put this, like, I don't know what the dust is. Oh, like StoneFi. So you can go to StoneFi and use that, a decentralized exchange. Oh, StoneFi version 2. Or you could just do what I do. Just take your wallet and transfer it out. Actually, you take this wallet. And then that's your cold storage device. You just go like this. And then you do whatever swaps you want to do. And it works out pretty well. So yeah, you're right. Especially if you're in crazy meme coins, and you just went up like 2,000% or something. And then you say, well, I need to sell this off. You can sell it. Actually, let me make this crystal clear. You can swap it within TANGEM, but if it doesn't, sometimes TANGEM doesn't have that option. What you would need to do, I'm not a big fan of connecting my cold storage device to a decentralized exchange directly. So what I'll do is I'll use a hot wallet. So like if it's on Solana, I'll use Phantom. If it's SWI, I'll just use the SWI wallet. Most of the time I can just get away with MetaMask. So I'll transfer from TANGEM into the hot wallet because it's connected to the internet. And then from there, I can do whatever I want to do. And there's a gap between my cold storage device, which has a lot of crypto on it. And I've got 4 or 5 different devices amongst all of them that it gives me peace of mind. So definitely do that. But it's a good point. Good point, Goody. J2 Day's got a good point. Coinbase will go down. That's very true, unfortunately. Well, I can say, always find the answer. Red Panda Pie's always got something good to say. Yeah, Dan TANGEM, that's it. Exactly. Rob is related to Dan. That's a good one. I'm just going to keep saying that to people. Yeah. Darren says, just an article that people who play racket sports live longer. Better put the golf clubs down and break out the tennis balls. Yeah. Also, you decrease your chances of dementia. Go figure. And it makes the mind think. What's great about tennis or pickleball is anybody can play. It doesn't take a massive amount of athleticism. US does do cool bumper stickers. That's true too. Yeah, see, CryptoComo, I always use Tron and Polygon networks for stables. That's the only way to do it. If you have to do Ethereum layer 1, forget about it. I move stablecoins with the Avalanche C chain, cheap and quick. That's the truth too. Avalanche is cheap. And boy, did they do a good job on Off the Grid, didn't they? Well, I think it was Guns, the Guns developers, GUNZ. Did you ever play around on Arrow? I didn't get a chance to do it, but I talked to Guy about it. I think it was after the show, and he said, yeah, Aerodrome, I always forget. That's a really, he said it's a really good decentralized exchange. I can't get ton off Ledger. I don't know what's going on with that. Pelon says, good afternoon, everyone. How we doing? Pretty good. Market's kind of a little bit of a pullback, but still pretty great. Crunk said, Rob, do you still use a seed phrase with your tandem, or is it just seedless? On one of them, it is seedless. And I have 3 different cards. And the other one is a seed phrase. So I'm not a big believer in putting all my crypto on one device. I have multiple tangems, and I have a couple of ledgers. So that's what I do. Yeah. For the live show. ETHEREUM, I want to say thank you for always commenting and just saying for the algo. I appreciate it. This is a good idea, actually. I think I heard this first from Scott Melker. A friend of mine has a dedicated cell phone that he doesn't use, doesn't make calls, probably doesn't do anything. He only uses it for his crypto, not for anything else. You know, the same thing from Digital Dave. He had a computer that was not connected to the internet that he used to store his crypto, and that was it. That's pretty interesting. That's fake news. That's fake news. Pickleball is for when the course is closed. When you play it, yeah, for golf, right? Grunk, you're welcome. Arrow's been good to my wallets. I didn't know they have a token. Let's take a look. AERO. Huh. Oh, I see. Ben, this is Aerodrome on base, but are we talking about, is this right? Probably. I would guess so. Let's see. What's the website? Yeah, Aerodrome Finance. Central Lake Marketplace on base. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Over a year, nothing. And here's your ROI, 6,016% over a year. In 30 days, almost 100%. Yeah. Totally missed that one. And this is the thing, like we get so tunnel visioned into Bitcoin, because we've been doing this for 2022. But I think it's time to start, not time to start. I've been dollar cost averaging for altcoins for a while, but to really start to really pivot from Bitcoin more towards the alts. I know some people say, wow, these indicators and indicators. It's true, but I still say like there's a more of an upside. It's riskier, but there's more of an upside to alts. The question is, one, can you actually sell it? Taking notes. I ain't gonna lie, my knees go out on them sports, the knee sleeves. Knee sleeves are great. Aerodrome is the best play for DEX. I have to play around with that. Everybody seems to like it. Just getting started. Yeah, all right. And what Danny says it right. Buenas noches. It's time to get out of here, everybody. We've gone for an hour and 5 minutes. That's it for today. So look, like this video, thumbs up. You can subscribe, but you know, YouTube's not going to notify you. So good luck. Also, check out the Flappy Bird game. Links in the description. You can do like we talked about, or just hit the link itself. But that's it. So thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you. And I will see you guys on the next one, which will be tomorrow. Adios.